Hi, it's Tanya with Red Cardinal Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of these. It's called a card in a box because it looks like a box, but you can flatten it and fold it and put it in an envelope. So isn't that fun? I made one here the other day. I didn't do any embellishments for it yet, but this is what it looks like. There's 4 divisions in there. I've seen them done with 2 and 3, but I decided to do 4. Just more places to put things, and they're really easy to make. So I'm going to get started here and show you how to do this. The paper I use for my cardstock is the Die Cuts with a View. I find that it's different. I find it's changed a little bit. It's got more of a shiny and soft feel to it. The way I did this is I use a sheet of cardstock for the actual box, and I use it for the divisions inside, but then on the back of my embellishments I cover them with the paper too, just to give it more of a finish instead of just being plain white paper. So you'll end up using probably about a piece and a half of 12 by 12. And then the accent papers I'm using, I'm doing this one. It says Happy and Bright and Merry. And then the stripe paper, and I got that from this paper pack, which was from my friend Phyllis. This is the Noel by Pink Paisley. So let's just get started. So you're going to take your cardstock and you're going to trim that to 11.5 by 6. Okay, and then just put this piece aside for now, and then you're going to use that later for the divisions on the inside of the box. Then you need your scoreboard, and like I said last year, if you don't have this on your Christmas list and you don't own one of these yet, make sure you put this on your list. Okay, so you're going to lay your paper sideways and you're going to score it, and you're going to score it 2 3/4 and 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and 11. And then turn it this way so that that shorter little score line right there at the 11 to the 11.5 part is up at the top. And you're going to score, but just stop before you get to this final score line. So at 2 1/2, you're going to score, and you're going to come down and you're going to stop right at that line there. Don't go any further than there. And I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so it looks like this. There's your score lines. This section isn't scored, but you have your score lines along here. And you can see that this section is shorter than this section. So this area up here is where you're going to cut. You can use a trimmer if you want. I just find it faster and easier with scissors. So this first little section here, you're going to cut this off. And then just cut this little part at an angle, because what's going to happen is this, when it closes around like a box, that's going to be your little tab to close it. So you've cut that part off, and now you're just going to cut these shorter lines here. So you're going to cut this one here, just up to that score line, and this one, same thing, and then this one. Okay, and then you just bend this one over, bend this, this, and this, and that's going to be your box. And this is going to go around, and this is eventually going to get glued like that, and that's your box, and these are all your flaps. But just leave that for now. What we're going to do is our paper that's going to cover the box. So you're going to cover the front and back of the flaps, and this part here, and this part. So I decided to use pattern paper just to show you how I'm going to cut the thing. Now, what should I use on the bottom of the box? Stripes? Yeah, I think I'll do stripes on... No, I'm going to do this on the actual box, like on this part of the box. I'm going to do this Merry and Bright. And I try to follow the pattern along, so when the paper's cut up, you can see that those 2 pieces of snowflakes would still be together, and coming around the turn, those snowflakes would still be together. Why? Just because that would drive me crazy otherwise. So to cut your paper for the outside of the box, this long part and these bottom parts of the box, turn your paper sideways, and the height, or you're going to trim it at 5 7/8, and I'll show you why in a minute once we trim that. So that's 5 7/8, and then you're going to cut for this piece here. So the height of that is 5 7/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, so this is going to be on the back of your box, and it's going to go like this. Now, the reason I did the 5 7/8 initially is because when this wraps around the box, you want your letters to match up. If you just start cutting away, it's going to come like this, and then these words aren't going to make sense. And that's why I use pattern paper to do this demonstration. Okay, so this is what our paper was like. Okay, and we cut it this way at 5 7/8, and then we trim this one off at 2 5/8. Okay, so now what we need is the height of these boxes, so we don't need this top part, right? So if it's sitting like this, and this is this end piece, we don't need this top part because we're going to do different patterns for those flaps. So we just need to cut this section off. And the height of this is 3 3/8. This will make more sense in a minute here. So 3 3/8. So now we've got the height for these boxes, but see what I mean about the pattern still making sense as it wraps around the box? You know what I mean? Okay, now the width of these is going to be 2 5/8, and we need 3 of those. If you're using just a random paper or a solid paper, it's not going to matter. But as you can see, because I kept it all in order, it follows the pattern all around the box. Okay? Now I'm just going to get some ink so I can ink my boxes. I'm just going to, should I use blue? No, I'll find some green. Let's see here. I have to get my inks out. Alright, I'm just going to do like a dark green or a light green. I'll do a light green. And because my friend Phyllis gave me a package of these, I can do that. Now I had trouble with my old Ink Essential thing. It kept falling off, and I realized what they've now done with them is they've put staples on them. So it must have been a problem that a lot of people were having. Okay, so I'm just going to ink the edges of my paper. I don't know, I just ink everything. You don't have to ink if you don't want to. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up and ink around all these papers. So now we're just going to glue the papers down to the box. Just make sure everything's lining up. Yeah, I did one box and I didn't have it lined up, and the patterns were all off and the words didn't make sense going around, so then that's how I figured out how to cut it so that it would make sense going around the box. So, whoops, sorry, hanging into my tripod again. So I just find it easier to just kind of glue everything together first before you make the box. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then when this box closes and it goes around, I actually put paper down that hole inside. Not that you really see it, but if anyone's kind of nosy enough, they may look down inside. And I put this long paper all the way down the back, and I kind of fold it and glue it a little funny, so I'll show you how I do that in a second. Okay, now we've got stripes, and I want to do the same thing with the stripes. I want to have the stripes going in all the same direction, so I want to figure out the height measurement first, which is 2 3/8. So we'll do, yep, 2 3/8. And then I'm going to do the width, and that is 2 5/8. And again, I just move my paper along just so I keep them in order. And then those are for underneath here. I just decorate the underneath of the box. It's nice, looks good. And again, there's the same distance between the stripes because it's still within the pattern. So I'm just going to ink these. Okay, and now you're going to do, these are going to be the flaps that come down when you have your box. So those were the underneath that we did. So now you're going to do the tops of these ones. Okay, so now for the inside of the box, you're going to have, it's going to be closed like this, and you're going to have stripes coming down. So you're going to have stripes there, there, and there. And then you're going to have the thing for the back. So your stripes are going up and down, so let's cut the back piece first, or no, sorry, the height first. So it's 5 and 7/8, because it's the same height that the back of the box was. Then you're going to cut the width, which is 2 and 5/8. So that's going to go on here. And then you're going to do your little flaps. So we're going to cut the height, which is 2 and 3/8, and then by 2 and 5/8. So I'm going to have it go along like this, and that, and that. Okay, so we're going to ink the edges again. So here's our pieces. Now we're just going to glue, and I'm going to glue these ones first. So let me just turn it down like this, and then I'll show how I glue the little seam in the back. I have to make a couple of these as birthday cards this week. I have a couple friends having birthdays, so I've got to make a couple of these, but I'm going to do like flowers and stuff for those. So here's the flaps of the box, and it comes down like this, and there's your box. We're almost done. So this little flap gets glued in on the back. So what I want to do is I want to glue this piece in here, and I want to close that. Just make sure you have your bottom edge even there. I find die cuts with a view change their paper slightly. It's a little shiny and slippery, and I find the glue isn't taking to it like it used to. Don't be changing die cuts. I've enjoyed this paper for many years. Don't be mixing it up on me now. It's the only cardstock I will use. Alright, so then for the back of the box, you just want to, well, I just want to cover up that little seam. So what I do is I will take, whoops, I will mess it up. I'm just going to take my piece of paper, put glue all over it, and then place it down inside the box, and that covers up the seam. So we're just going to sit it down in. Like that, and then that seam is covered up. No one sees it. And that's why I didn't score this part, because this back part of the box doesn't fold. Like, see here, I'll show you this one that's not done. This is that back part of the box that I didn't score, because if not it would eventually flop like that. So you just leave it, because that, when the card folds up, it folds up like this. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand because I'm trying to hold this while it sets. So the back of the box, it's just best to not even score that at all. That's why when we did those score line at 2.5 and came down, we stopped at that point. And then it just keeps it, just stops it from bending. So there you go. So there is your box. And now we just have to do those inside little divisions, and that's what you stick your embellishments to. So we're going to take our leftover paper. Now this was the paper we had at the beginning. And we are going to cut it at, now I make mine fairly long and tall. You don't have to, but I just feel it gives more structure to these pieces. Some people only make them fairly short and they use them out of the scored pieces. You can if you want, but mine go fairly deep. They go, you know, to within an inch or so of the bottom. So that's just how I do it. You can make up whichever way you want to do it, but these are 3 3/4 by 2.5. So I'm just going to cut these at 2.5, and I do 4 of them. Okay, so now you have just these little pieces left over that you can use for the backs of your embellishments if you want. Now you're going to take your scoreboard again. See how handy the scoreboard is? This is why you need to buy one. Okay, so take these, lay them sideways like this, and you're going to score them at 1/2 and at 3 1/4. So do that with all 4 pieces. So 1/2 and 3 1/4. Okay, now, so you've got them all scored. You're going to bend the left side up towards you and the right side down. So it's going to look like that, okay, like a letter Z. So do that with all of them. The left side towards you, the right side back. And the way I've done these, the sizing fits, like they fit completely, you'll see, it kind of measures out. Alright, just want to make sure this is secure before we start fiddling around with the box. Okay, so take one of your pieces, and it's going to go down in here in the box, and this edge is going to line up right with the front. So that's going to come right up to the front here and lie flat, and then it's going to go straight across, and then you're going to glue the other one to that side. Okay, but that one's not, it's going to be, you know, out from this corner. Okay, so, and make sure all your little pieces are facing the same way as each other. Now this can get a little sticky and messy when you stick them down in the box, so just be careful. I just sort of tuck them in a little bit till I get them down in there. So this one, I make sure it's lined up right against the front of the box, like that. And then make sure the spacing through here is even, and don't let any glue come out from the top. And I put it right to the very top of the box, so it's pretty close to the top, right along there. And just hold those till they set. But yeah, just make sure this is an even space through there. Okay, so just give that a minute to hold. Then you're going to take your next one, and this one is going to butt up right up against that one, like that. Get my light going here. So it's just going to butt right up against that, and then this one is going to do the same over here, and it's going to butt up, hang on, it's going to butt up right where that other one stops. Can you see that? Okay, and then so on and so on. So you're going to do that with all 4 pieces, and it actually takes up the exact width of the box with these measurements. And again, just kind of tuck them in as you're putting them down in the box, just to avoid too much glue spillage. I tend to do glue a lot. A lot of people use tape runners. I just never have enough of my Tombow. I buy them like whenever I go to Florida, and then I never have them We have Michaels in Canada, but I just find Michaels so expensive for the Tombow. Okay, like that, and then do the next one. This glue holds really well. It's just a habit, it's just what I'm used to using. So again, push it down in. Just make sure it's lined up. And the nice thing about this is that you can reach in from underneath the box just to hold them. Okay, and then you get your last one. And then after that, your box is done. It's just embellishments. So it really does not take a long time to make the structure of the box. They kind of look more complicated when you see them than they are to actually make. And see, that took us right pretty much to the very back of the box. That last one. So, and I just like having the 4 divisions. It just gives you more places to embellish. So I'm just going to let this sit for a minute, and I'm going to tell you about this. So this one here that I did, this Twas the Night Before Christmas, this is my own design with the houses and the little things of snow, and then I did the lettering. So, oh sorry, my lamp is in the way. So what you can do, if you use these measurements that I've used here to make this box, I have this on my Etsy shop, and it's the embellishments, and I've given you one that's in full color, like this one is here, and I've given you one in black and white in case you want to color it your own way. So they're both on there, they're available, it's on my Etsy shop, please check it out. I will have a link to the Etsy shop down below. But that is how you make the pop-up card in a box. And what I'm going to do is, now we're going to make an envelope for it. So let's see, let's measure this, because when you do your embellishments, when you close your box, you don't really want it going any farther than this side. And really, you don't want it going any higher than the box. You'll see with this one, it doesn't have any embellishments, but it folds just nice and neat like that. But all you have to do is just make your envelope a little bit bigger. So I'm going to lay this down and just see what the measurement is. So we're at about 7.5 by, I'd say about 5.5. So if we go to our envelope punch board here, 5.5 by 7.5. Okay, so we need a 10.5 by 10.5 piece of paper. Okay, so get the envelope punch, and we will get a piece of paper. So I'm going to use, okay, let's just use this green paper. So it needs to be 10.5 by 10.5. So 10.5 by 10.5. Alright, and our first score line is 4.5. So you line it up to 4.5, and you're going to line up to the score line, measurement, punch, and score. So 4.5. We're going to punch, and we're going to score. Oh, as far as it'll go. And then rotate the paper 90 degrees counterclockwise, so that's going backwards this way. And we're going to align the score line, and we're going to punch it, and we're going to score, and we're going to rotate it again. And we're going to line that up, and we're going to punch, and we're going to score, and we're going to rotate it one more time, line it up with that thingy, punch, and we're going to score, and then you can take your points of your envelope and put it in to the back side of this thing. And just punch it, and punch it again, and then we're just going to fold up our lines, our score lines. this, and then you would just use this, and you could put stickers on either side, or you can use your glue. Let's just use some glue just to see how this goes. And just do it on these two sections here. Don't get it too close to the edge of the line, because then when you put your card in, you'll get glue on it. So let your card, or let your envelope dry for a little bit first before you put your card in, but I'll just show you that if your card was inside, I'm not going to do it because I'll get glue on it, but there it is there, and then that would fold over and it would fit your card. So there you go. So that is how you do the card in a box. And if you want these exact embellishments, just click on my link there to my Etsy shop, and these are available for you. So I believe I have them on there for $6, so you can pick those up, and you can just cut them out. And then what I did with the backs of mine is I did just the matching, the same paper I used for the box. I just did it on the back of the drawings, and then trimmed them out. So there you go. And I'll just give you just kind of another look at it here so you can see where I put everything in case you're trying to do it the exact same. The hills of snow, it doesn't really matter. I put the highest hills at the back here. I don't know if you can really see, but they're, let's see, these ones are at the very back there. And then I have these ones here at the front. And then, how did I do it? Then this one's, so wait now, this one's in the front. No, sorry, this one's in the front, and then this one I did next, then I did this one, then I did this one. So that's how I have them. And then I just did the orange house on the front. I just used a Zot when I did these. I tucked the red house in behind that first snowbank. The yellow house is on the front of the second snowbank. The taupe house is on the front of the third snowbank. I've got the blue and the green both tucked behind the last one. And then I just did Santa on the moon there. Crossing in front of the moon. I just have him with two Zots on the back, and then just glued the little and to all good night on there, and then I just did these and I outlined them with some cardstock as well. And there you go. And then what you can do is just put out, you can cut a little tag or something and put it on the back, and that's where you can put your message to whoever's receiving the card. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and please check out my shop, and I'll be back with some more videos soon. Alright, thanks for watching. See ya.